One bike on this list weighs 5.98 kilograms, lighter than the UCI allows at the Tour de France, and it outrides carbon frames built for cobblestones. 10 endurance bikes, 10 different answers. Let's start at number 10. Merida Scultura Endurance 4000. Number 10. The Merida Scultura Endurance 4000 at roughly $2,900. That undercuts the entry-level Specialized Roubaix SL8 Sport, a bike whose flagship version closes out this list at nearly 4 times the price. Riders stepping up from aluminum needed a full carbon frame set without gutting their savings. Merida built exactly that. Carbon main triangle, carbon seat post, 12-speed Shimano 105. Reviewers through 2026 kept landing on the same verdict. It rides like a bike costing twice as much, with handling that never punishes a rider for relaxing on a 4-hour climb. Among long-distance clubs, it has become the open secret. The bike-experienced riders hand to friends buying their first serious machine. That value pressure at the bottom forced the rest of the category to defend its ground, starting with a British builder who took the opposite approach entirely. Fairlight Strail 4.0's number 9 is steel. In 2026, the Fairlight Strail 4.0 proved steel never left the endurance conversation. It just went quiet. Riders on rough British B roads needed a material that absorbs chatter without the harsh feedback carbon still transmits at speed. Fairlight answered with a Reynolds tube set. Wall thickness tuned through the frame to flex predictably under load, and clearance out to 40mm rubber. The Strail built its reputation the hard way, through Audax finishers and self-supported bike packers logging hundreds of miles, testers noting how little fatigue it left in their hands and lower back after 7 hours in the saddle. In the UK steel community, owning one signals a rider who chose ride feel over spec sheets. That steel versus carbon argument pushed boutique builders to double down on made-to-order frames, none more directly than the next name. Farah number 8 doesn't come off a rack at all. Farah builds every 2026 frame to order. Stock geometry creates sizing compromises, especially for riders at the edges of standard size charts who end up either stretched out or cramped. Farah's answer: a build-to-order carbon frame set where geometry, group set, and finish are all specified before the frame is even laid up, plus in-house frame bags shaped to the tubes rather than bolted on afterward. The proof is in how owners use them, loaded for multi-day self-supported events where off-the-shelf storage always looks like a compromise. Inside the ultra-distance community, a Farah marks a rider who plans routes in hundreds of miles, not dozens. That obsession with real-world load carrying is what finally pushed the big brands to take onboard storage seriously. Canyon Endurance number 7 solves a problem most bikes ignore: cockpit width. The 2026 Canyon Endurance offers an adjustable width handlebar on higher spec builds. Different riders want different bar widths and reach depending on hand size and shoulder width, yet almost every bike forces one compromise. Canyon lets riders dial fit in without swapping components and adds internal down tube storage on the top trims for tools, tubes, and nutrition. Testers through the 2026 season kept highlighting how the adjustable cockpit changed the comfort equation past the 3-hour mark, something fixed-width rivals can't replicate without a full component swap. Among direct-to-consumer buyers, the Endurance has a cult following for spec sheets that would cost thousands more through a dealer. That direct sales value forced traditional brands to rethink how they build women-specific endurance bikes. Livavail Advance number 6 was built on a premise the industry resisted for years. Smaller riders need more than a shrunken men's frame. Women on standard endurance geometry often ended up with toe overlap or stack heights, forcing an awkward, overly upright position. undermining comfort and power at the same time. Liv's response uses genuinely female-specific sizing down to extra small tube diameters tuned for lighter riders and saddle and bar shapes built around different contact pressure points. Reviewers testing the Avail Advanced against its giant sibling found handling that felt tuned rather than simply scaled. With proper toe clearance and confident descending manners, smaller riders rarely get. In women's clubs, it's the first bike recommended to anyone outgrowing entry-level aluminum. That commitment to tailored engineering is the same philosophy that pushed Cannondale toward a completely different kind of innovation. Cannondale Synapse Carbon No. 5 bet that the biggest unsolved problem on a long ride isn't comfort, it's traffic. Riders' logging hours on open roads face real blind spot risk from vehicles approaching behind them, and endurance bikes offered nothing to address it. The Synapse Carbon integrates SmartSense into the frame, front and rear lights, plus a radar-based rear detection unit that alerts the rider through a bar-mounted display wired through the frame rather than bolted on. Cycling safety publications testing SmartSense through 2026 reported measurably faster reaction times to overtaking traffic compared to unaided riders, turning a marketing feature into a documented safety benefit. Among club riders on open roads, those who've used it through a near miss describe it as the feature they'd never ride without again. 5 down, 5 to go, and the top 5 is where the engineering gets genuinely strange. If this breakdown is useful, subscribe, because number 2 weighs less than a Tour de France bike is legally allowed to. That safety-first thinking put pressure on the pure performance brands to prove their comfort tech could still win on ride feel. Giant Defy Advanced SL No. 4 has no moving parts at all. Giant bet that a well-tuned carbon layup could beat mechanical shock systems outright. Riders had grown wary of proprietary decouplers that add weight, complexity, and long-term maintenance. The Defy's answer is the D-Fuse seat post and bar system, a flattened, elastic composite profile that flexes vertically under load without a single hinge or elastomer, paired with geometry identical to Giant's premium race frame set. Testers through 2026 kept praising its climbing relative to its endurance classification, noting it accelerates and descends with a liveliness. Heavier decoupler-equipped rivals can't match pound for pound. In Gran Fondo circles, it's the endurance bike serious amateur racers pick when they refuse to trade speed for comfort. That refusal set the standard Bianchi had to answer with its own material science. Bianchi Infinito CV No. 3 claims to cancel up to 80% of road vibration before it reaches you. That's Countervail, and Bianchi has been refining it for over a decade. Long descents and rough surfaces transmit high-frequency vibration straight into hands and feet, and over hours that micro-vibration is a major, underrated source of fatigue geometry alone can't fix. Countervail is a viscoelastic carbon material woven directly into the frame layup. Not a damper, not an insert, part of the structure itself. Independent lab testing and pro-level feedback through 2026 continued to back the claim, with World Tour adjacent riders citing measurably less hand and foot numbness on long cobbled stages. For riders raised on Italian racing heritage, an Infinito CV carries weight beyond the spec sheet, now into the top 2. And they solved the same problem in exactly opposite ways. Trek Domain SLR No. 2 refuses to specialize. The Trek Domain SLR carries front and rear ISO-speed decouplers, 40mm tire clearance, and an internal down tube compartment big enough for a spare tube, tools, and a multi-tool. Riders wanted one bike that could handle chip seal, carry gear for a multi-day trip, and still hold a fast group ride pace. Three demands that normally force a trade-off somewhere in the frame. The decouplers let the seat tube and head tube flex independently of the main frame, which is how it covers all three. Long-term testers running it through a full 2026 season repeatedly called it the most versatile bike in the category, the rare frame that performs as well loaded for a tour as stripped down for a Sunday hammer session. It's the Swiss Army knife of the endurance world. But versatility wasn't what took the top spot. The winner did the opposite. It specialized completely. Specialized Roubaix SL8 No. 1. The Specialized Roubaix SL8, with a measured 53% reduction in impact force at the bars and saddle compared to its nearest competitor, on the same lab equipment used to validate every other bike here. Riders on cobbled routes and badly maintained rural roads need more than lightweight and wide tires. They need active vertical compliance that responds to impact in real time. The answer is Future Shock 3.0, a coil and hydraulic damper built into the head tube, allowing up to 20 millimeters of vertical travel, independent of the fork, tuned to absorb sharp hits without the vague feel of earlier generations. Testers riding cobbled sportives through 2026 called it the gold standard, describing a front end that erases potholes and expansion joints that would rattle riders off a rigid frame. It's the bike professional and amateur riders specifically request for the roughest events on the calendar. And that 5.98-kilogram bike from the intro? That was the Specialized Ethos 2, which came within reach of the top spot by betting the exact opposite way. No comfort tech at all. Just weight so low, the bike floats over rough roads. Roughly 6 kilograms, fully built, ultra-thin, hand-finished carbon, 35 millimeter clearance. Nearly a full kilogram under the UCI limit. It lost to the Roubaix by a margin thinner than either brand would admit. From the value-driven Merida at 10 to the Future Shock-equipped Roubaix at 1, this list traces the whole evolution of what comfort technology means in 2026. Some brands chased weight, some chased material science, some chased mechanical suspension, some chased value. What this really tracks isn't 10 bikes. It's an entire industry converging from 10 different directions on the same conclusion. Speed and comfort were never opposites to begin with. Comfort stopped being a compromise and became an engineering discipline in its own right. If you want the next breakdown, the moment a new endurance bike drops, subscribe. The bike that dethrones the Roubaix SL8 is almost certainly already in development. Which of these 10 would you actually ride a century on? Let us know below.